So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what pass protection is when I'm explaining it to my guys. All right. And then the 5 P's is something that I learned when I pledged my fraternity. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So you have to make sure your guys understand the scheme. Make it as simple as possible for those guys so that they're confident when they're out there making their calls, all right, and playing alongside each other in the game. All right, so just kind of a diagram of explaining what pass protection is. What are we even trying to accomplish, okay? So the first thing to understand is, what are we trying to do? We're trying to create a pocket, okay? Now, traditionally, it used to be more of like an oval pocket, all right, where it was a little bit tighter of a pocket, but these days, offensive line coaches are teaching these guys to be a little bit more aggressive in their sets, so the pocket's getting a little flatter. I'm a little somewhere in the middle because I learned under Berry, so I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. He was more of a traditional pocket guy, all right, but we're trying to build a pocket to allow the quarterback to distribute the football to our receivers and running backs and skill guys, all right? When we're talking about building that pocket, the interior 3 offensive linemen are responsible for the depth of that pocket. That means they can't get knocked back on the quarterback's lap, all right, when they're setting. The 2 tackles are responsible for the width of that pocket. That means they can't cave in the pocket and get beat and end up on the quarterback's lap because they're caving in the pocket. So we're trying to create this natural semicircle to allow the quarterback to distribute the football. Another phase for us, we need to understand the quarterback's launch point. I need to know if I'm in the shotgun, whether it's a catch, set, throw, as far as drop back for the quarterback, whether if it's a 5-step drop type of throw, whether if it's a long developing route. So I like to teach my guys to understand what the quarterback's launch points is. And that's kind of included in the protection number when we send the protection in for the quarterback to tell the offensive line. So those guys have an understanding, but it's important based on the type of set that they make on what the quarterback's launch point is, okay? Another phase when we're talking about what pass protection is proper communication, proper identification, and the proper call, all right? So when we're communicating along the line of scrimmage, we need to be on the same page. That's why I circle back to defensive recognition. If I don't know what an even out or bare front is, I can't even properly communicate. So them understanding defensive fronts, knowing what the point man is. So it's a point-based system that I teach as far as in my pass protection so that they can identify the mic that we're responsible to work into in our half slide protections, all right? As well as making the call, that 3-man slide call, which is our base call as far as a half slide offensive line, okay? And last but not least, of course, proper techniques and fundamentals, all right? So example, this little purple circle is just an example of this right guard working a good tricep punch on the defender. So they need to have a great understanding of those 4 phases. Of course, it's way more things, but that's just kind of the meat and potatoes of what pass protection is and what the things are we're trying to accomplish up front, okay? So a call system. So this is my old call system, so I don't mind sharing this. A call system is something that we have in place, and we try to keep it, again, as basic and simple as possible so that these guys are on the same page with the call. This is their Bible as far as pass protection so that we're communicating on the same page. So this is the play side, and then this is kind of the man side of the protection. So you have your 3-man slide right here, your Ray and your Lou, your rake and lake, which is your 4-man, and then your red and your blue, which is your 5-man. All right, so you'll hear some of these calls today when we get more in depth with the scheme. And then you're fanning out, we can use play side. All right, your solid or your 5-0 is kind of for your bare looks. And when you get your 5-man looks, well, we just go ahead and declare it as a box look. And you have your base look, which is your primary look on the backside of a half slide protection team. And then you can sometimes fan it out when you're talking about some odd stuff we'll get into later. And then you can squeeze on the backside if it's a 5-man protection. But today we're pretty much going to focus on your 6-man protection. So that's just kind of a brief synopsis of what our call system is that we have in place for these guys, a simple diagram for them to learn, okay? All right, so just kind of a base understanding of what our 6-man even front protection is. So we're a point-based protection offensive line. When I'm teaching these guys, of course, I'm not coaching offensive line right now, but for my offensive line, we're a point-based system offensive line. So we identify that Mike backer that we work into. That point linebacker is usually play side shoulder or to the play side of the defense of the center. So he identifies that front, whether it's even, odd, or bare. Then he identifies that point man. That point man determines a lot for us. All right, so there's a slide side of the protection, which is the call side, and then there's a man side. The slide side of the protection is just like if I'm running inside zone to the right as far as our ideology of what we're trying to accomplish. So the slide side, we have 3 for 4 of the most dangerous on the slide side of the protection. The back side of the protection is the man side. We just have 1, 2 LOS on the back side, 1, 2 LOS guys on the line of scrimmage on the backside. All right. So again, center declares the front, he identifies the point, and then he makes a call. Our base call in our 6-man point-based protection is a Ray or Lou call. A Ray is just a 3-man call where the center is the last man in on the slide, where again, they have 3 for 4 on the slide side of the protection. Okay. And then of course there's solo on the backside. Okay. The running back is responsible for -1 from the point. All right. So the offensive line slides to the call side. This is 60. So we're sliding to the right. The running back goes to the negative side as far as how we point. Again, it's a point-based system. So this is the point man. We have the running back, has -1 to the minus side back to scan. All right. So the scan rules are important for the running back to understand, because if they bring 4 to this slide side of the protection, the running back is responsible for checking for a 4th rusher that comes on the slide side before he checks down into his route. That's important. All right. Another caveat to this protection, because some people ask, well, what if they overload it to that man side? We can flip the protection. So if there is no point man in the box on the slide side of this protection, we can actually flip the protection up front, or the quarterback can flip the protection. So let's say that this Mike backer was over here on this side of the center. We can flip the protection, all right, and then we can go ahead and just make it 61. After, when we flip the protection, we have to notify, we tap our butt to notify to the running back, hey, we're flipping the protection. So now your minus is on the opposite side. So that's kind of just a brief introduction as far as what this is to us. All right. What this 6-man point-based, even just to a regular overfront, is to us, how we identify it, what our calls are, and what we're trying to accomplish. Now, a few more things. When I'm on the slide side, I can be way more aggressive at guard and tackle and angle set and be more violent on the slide side, because I know I have inside help from the center right here. The center is coming to help clean up. All right. He has his eyes on the point. Now he has to drag set. So the center, the last man in on the slide, needs to make sure that he drag sets to give some hand presence to help this backside guard. All right. The guard and tackle, they need to be a little bit more safer on the backside, because they know they're by themselves. So the guard has to do a great job here of pounding the post, coming to overtake this nose. And then the tackle, a lot of the times I teach a vertical set when I'm on that man side of the protection, just to be safe and stay inside out of the defender. Okay. So let's dive a little bit into odd, as far as we're just talking about scheme right now. So this is my base odd protection that I teach. Is a 4-man slide protection. It's either a rake or a lake call. All right. We 4-man slide. All right. This is a rake or a lake call. All right. This is actually supposed to be lake. Sorry about that typo. All right. But we use this 4-man slide call. All right. When we feel like the buck is a true outside linebacker. So this, remember what we talked about earlier. This is an odd front because what, the center and both tackles are covered. We have 2 4 eyes. This is your overhang. So we feel like this guy is a true outside linebacker. When we feel like he's a true outside linebacker, we go ahead and allow for the running back to still have his -1 to -2 rules. All right. On the backside of the protection. Now we have a 4-man slide with these 1, 2, 3, 4 guys are sliding to the left. Again, this is supposed to be lake right here. Sorry about that. They're sliding to the left, and they're picking up the 4 most dangerous on this slide side of the protection. All right. The running back has -1 to -2. All right. So that's just our base slide protection. Now, this could be the only odd protection. Honestly, we could just always really slide it to the buck, even if this was not a true outside linebacker. But this is just kind of our base odd 4-man slide protection. Center identifies that it's odd. The running back knows I have -1 to -2. All right. So a couple caveats about this. All right. This backside guard. So just some extra things we're talking about. We don't want to just be hairy with you guys, and very simple. This guy is the last man in on the slide with this late call. All right. If that nose goes away, all right, he doesn't want to go chase that nose, that last man in on the slide. If that guy goes away, I want to get vertical if I'm that last man in on the slide so that I can be ready for pressure that may be coming on this man side of the protection. We never want to chase an eye. We always want to be in a vertical set demeanor so that we can collect any type of pressure that may be coming. So we don't want to chase and turn our shoulders. And we want to make sure that we vertical set and keep our head on the swivel, all right, if our ID goes away from us. All right, so that's just our 4-man slide protection that we have. All right. Now, another eye protection. Now, this eye protection, I call this double dual. We use this eye protection mainly in 50 protection, but I wanted to share this because we can use it in 60. All right. Sometimes we can use it in 60. All right. So we use this eye protection, like I said, mainly in our 5-man protection. But if we feel like this buck is a true defensive end, so we feel like we don't want the running back blocking this boundary defensive end, then we'll go ahead and make a double dual call. Or if they're a heavy edge pressure team and we want to pick up the edge pressure with our offensive lineman, we'll go ahead and make the double dual call. What that double dual call does is it makes us 2 for 3. So the guard and tackle are responsible for 2 of the 3 of most dangerous to their side, all right, of the protection. So 2 for 3 on each side. That's why I drew these triangles right here so that you can see that. All right. Now, the running back is still responsible for -1 from the point. So this is 61, which means the running back is responsible for -1 from the point, because this is the point man. This is the running back's -1. All right. So on the boundary side of this protection, it's an automatic out call if we have an immediate edge threat. So if that immediate edge threat is on the line of scrimmage on the boundary side or the man side of the protection, it's an automatic out call. If there is no immediate edge threat and we made a double dual call, all right, we can go ahead and turn our ID inside and help the running back out on his -1. All right. Now the running back still knows in all these protections, if that -1 and -2 don't come, then I still need to scan back for when they bring NCAA or when they bring those 4 slide to a slide pressures. All right. Now, the center identifies the front. He calls a double dual. If we game plan for it that week, he's man on the nose. So if you have a guy, if your center is a man, and he can guard that nose one-on-one, all right, then I definitely recommend, sorry about that, I definitely recommend you using the double dual because it takes some heat off the running back when he doesn't have to be man on that boundary defensive end. All right. Now, if you can't, then you have to do the 4-man slide to help that center out if he can't get that done by himself.